In this video, we are going to discuss about an important component in C language that is called as preprocessor directives. Often we start our C program with something called as hash include. The hash symbol that is called as preprocessor. Now, as the name states, it is called as preprocessor. Now, think about a scenario, as we often say, machines are so dumb that they can't do even a single work on their own. They have to be taught each and everything line by line, command by command. Okay, it is like a fresh born baby with zero memory or zero knowledge. To such a child, you wanted to teach some complex calculation of you talk about some integral calculus or differential calculus or some complex functionality. You even take up an example of mathematics subject. You wanted to teach integral calculus to a baby who has no knowledge about what mathematics is even. Okay, to such a baby, what you do, you can't go teach them directly about the complex mathematical topic, right? You cannot go teach them trigonometry or algebra. Rather, what you do, you start at the point of saying what is numbers, and then we teach additional operator, addition function, addition, subtraction, multiplication, stage by stage, and we also talk about number lines, integers. So we build their knowledge level by level. So once they reach a certain level of knowledge, only then we open them to a newer topic of some calculus or whatever it could be. So this is the ideology which we often work with in terms of our education system. Okay, we need some kind of a basics to be learned before we proceed with the current syllabus. Okay, and that is true with computers also. But we cannot keep doing this to the computer every single time we write a program. So program is nothing but from the scratch. So I cannot keep writing the basics over and over again for every single program. So what the brilliant creators of C language or brilliant creators of any language they have done is nothing but they have some basic functionalities in place which is written and compiled already in packages as header files and modules. So whenever you want such kind of functions to be executed, you need not go back to the olden days of teaching the machine how to do it. Rather, those lines of code is already written and pre-compiled, and that is kept ready in form of an header file. You talk about string functions. You need not train your machine to do functions in string. You need not go back to the olden days of memory allocation process. You need not go back to the olden days of trying to convert arrays to integers. So all those functionalities are already written in place and kept as small modules. So based upon your present requirement, you can import whatever module you want, include it to your present program, and then run it. And such files are called as header files. So the thing is, before I proceed, the way you write a program is nothing but before we proceed with learning a new topic, I want you to go back to the olden days and brush up on the older topics. That is how we start teaching somebody, right? And that is the same thing what we are doing with programs also. Before we start writing a new program, I want you to brush up on the older knowledge what you already had. So that kind of a statement is nothing but hash include and some header file there. So what the program would do, even before starting the main function, it rushes back to the older libraries and collects all the information it could collect about printing, scanning the values, data types and everything A to Z, and comes back to your program, the main function, and it will be ready with all the knowledge it is supposed to have. Okay, and those are called as preprocessor, and that is the meaning of the word called preprocessor. Now that preprocessor comes with different ways of usage. The first way of usage is nothing but hash include, which says include the file which I'm going to tell right now. That include can be either enclosed with angle brackets if it is a predefined library that is present inside the global header space. We have all the header files whichever needed stored in a global header space called includes folder, and that folder I would show you, it is present inside. Let's see, we have this C directory here where we have installed our TDM GCC file. Inside this folder, we have this folder called include. Okay, and this is a 64-bit version. Here you could see a lot of libraries here in this place as well, and that libraries would be scattered across this folder. You can see a lot of libraries around place. It will be present in different folder hierarchies. So you have this folder called include. Here you can see a set of header files. You have this folder called bin. Here you can see a lot of applications in place. And here you have your MingGW version. minimalistic version of GCC compiler. And even here, there is a separate include folder. And here you can see a set of header files. The stdio.h file. You can see it is present here. It is present inside the MinGW, minimalistic GC version, 32-bit version. Under the include folder, you have this stdio.h as a header file here. So all these are some header files which does some specific action. So similarly, there are a lot of header files present around here. And also in our sessions earlier, we created even our own header file. Whenever you create a user-defined header file, those header files, if you want to use it, if it is present in the same directory where your working program file is also present, then that will be included with the help of double quotes. All the other header files which is present globally somewhere inside the TDM GCC folder, they can be included with the help of the Angular brackets. So that is all about the hash include line. Okay. Apart from that, we also have something called as hash define. Now, many of us would have come across this line in our Vivas saying that, can I write a program without main function? Now, the obvious answer is no, you cannot write a program without main function because main is a default function that gets executed when the program execution starts. Okay. But I can write without using the main keyword. I'll show you how. Create a new file. I'll save this as no main.c. So what I can do is nothing but hash include, it's a regular starting stdio.h. Here I'm defining hash define fun as main, which means wherever it finds fun as a keyword, it will replace with main. That is int fun of printf hello world return 0. Okay. Now in our Visual Studio Code, when you place this fun, okay, in the place, it could see fun expands to main. You can see the message on the screen. Hash define fun main expands to main, which means this function will not, as of now, when you see it, for our naked eyes, it is seen as int fun. But when it gets executed, this won't be a fun function. Rather, when it compiles, this becomes a main function. So for a reference, I'll compile this and I'll show you gcc no main.c -o no main. When I run this file called no main, it still runs. It still prints the function, prints the value of hello world from this function called fun. But because this is no more the fun function, it is replaced as main function. So this is all about the hash define functionality. Similarly, I can also have something called as hash if. Hash if is again a preprocessor directory if condition, and I'll show you how that is executed. More similar to your hash define or any other preprocessor directives, it is more similar to your if statements. The way of using hash if statement is nothing but I'll say I'll have a value hash int a is equal to 20 hash if a equal to 20 printf hello. I'll say hash end if. I'm starting an if statement, I'm ending with an end if statement. So this a is not executed because it is not picking the a from the internal value. That a has to be defined in the hash define part. Hash define a 20. Now that a is defined as 20 here. Now when I compile it, when I run it up again, it prints hello and then hello world. Now this hello is printed reason because the value of a is 20. Now what is the purpose of having all this hash define, hash include, and all these programs and processes? Now when you talk about the preprocessor is nothing but set of codes. Whatever you write in preprocessor, those will be executed, those will be evaluated even before your main function gets compiled. That is a need of having preprocessor. And these are highly used in terms of banking applications or any application format which requires quicker runtime, which has to be computed in a very shorter span of time. We cannot wait for the process to execute it completely. In such cases, we use these kind of preprocessors in place. And talking about the time complexity, runtime factor of it, responding in a much faster way, we can have a clear picture about it once when we talk about storage classes in our next video. Hope you are very aware of all the preprocessors we have used here, hash include, hash define, and hash if. end if function. Similarly, you can also use else if statements also in the hash if commands using your preprocessors. It is very similar to what we have used in hash if and hash end if. The only main feature about hash if is nothing but it has to mandatorily end with a statement called hash end if. That is the line which notifies your compiler about the end part of the if statement, because you don't use any parenthesis here to notify the scope of your if statements, just like your other conditional statements. Here, a hash if should end with hash end if, and that's all the details which we need to learn about your preprocessors in place, and the hash include, hash define, and hash if and else if about. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part of the video.